Hello guys. All right, so let's do the correction of the assignments. Let me open the screen. Now the first thing is here, I want to create a new page. Right, I'm not creating a new app, I want to create a new page. So where would I start from? I'll create a new widget, the widget that will stand for our screen, right? So let's create st. Now in this case, I want my widget to be a stateful widget, and I will tell you the reason. You said I create a new file and I call it settings view.dat. Do you get? Are you confused? You guys should, Yeah, I created a new file and I name it settings view.dat, and inside that file I want to create a stateful widget. You get? Alright, so this is a stateful widget. Let me call it settings view. Always call your widget what it does. Okay, now note that when I'm editing something, all this name it changes here, and here. So this is your stateful widget, and stateful widget override a function which is called states. It override a create states function, and that function returns a widget of states. How do I know? This is a class which extends states. This is the states, and this is the widget. This is the widget. You remember stateful widgets. That is a widget that have states. Is there any question? Okay, let's move on. We are good to go. Now, this widget, it has a build method. You remember all widgets have build methods, right? Now in this case, I want to return a scaffold. Let me run this screen. In your assignment, what did you guys do? Did you create a new project, or how did you do your assignment? Did you create a new screen for your assignment? How did you do your assignment? Did you create a new project for the settings page, or how did you do it? You create a new project you were using, then okay. Then how did you now change the screen to be the one that shows on the screen? Okay, yeah, the home screen. So that's what I actually want to tell you. So you know that, yeah, when we launch the application, the home screen is showing because it's the one, the home page is showing because it's the one we pass to the home here. Now that I pass the settings view, it will launch the settings view instead. Do you get? Now let me restart my app. Okay, I think it's launched already. So now let me continue my editing. Now I have a scaffold. Where is this thing? now on our screen, the first thing is we want to outline our screen. Now this screen, if you were to draw the outline of this screen, what does it look? What is the outline? The first thing I can see, I don't know what you see, but the first thing I see here is a column. Okay, let's say after the app bar, we all know the app bar, right? It's not part of our body, right? So app bar is different. But from the body, the first thing I see here is a column. How? It's because everything is laid horizontally. I mean, everything is laid vertically. That is why I know that this is a column. And we know that to lay widgets vertically on our screen, we use column, right? The widgets are on top of each other. They are laid vertically. So that's why I know that it's a column. Now let me put that in my code. There's a body, column. Now after column, before column, if you look at this, you see there is extra spaces at the top, at the left, at the right of the screen, right? Now, what is that? That is it's a padding. That means it's a padding. And how can we add padding to all our widgets, all the widgets inside the column? We cannot add, if we decide to add padding to each of the contents, that will be a long way, and we are just stacking widgets on top of each other. The best thing to do is to wrap the column with padding, right? So which means it will give all its children the spacing that we want, right? So let's do that. Now let's wrap this column. So just wrap this column, and let's give it a padding of, let's give it 16. I think that's cool. All right, so now the next thing is a text widget. Is that right? So text widget inside the children. All right, so and it's called work. So we can see the work on our screen. Let's give it a styling. Let's give it font of is 2. Let me give it 20. Now after the text, we have the next thing here is what? The button. Now as you see the button, what you see is button, right? What me I see is a row, row, because it is laid, the buttons and all the other children are laid side by side. So let's put in a row. Now the row will be below the text, because it's also another child of the column. So let's put comma row. And row will also have its own children. Now here I want to use material button. It's still the same thing. You can use elevated button if you choose. I want to use material button. You say? Yeah, they are still button. Everything is still button. You can choose to use whatever you like, and with any one that suits what you want to do. You said? Their styling might not be the same. That's why I told you it's depends on what you want to do and the one you prefer. You can still style elevated button the way you style material button. In as much as you know what you want to achieve, then you can choose to use whatever you like. Okay, now we have material button. Now let's set the child. Material button has a property. The property is called, it has color property, it has a child property. Yeah, and these are the two that we are interested in. Let's set the color. I want to pick the color from here. Okay. So my button appears. Another property is the child, right? So let's set the child. And the child is what? Is a text widget. Are you guys following? Okay. It's a text, and the content is the minus. Okay. Now look at this. What is the next widget here? What's like what is the next widget after the button, the first button? Is it a text? Is it a text? Yes, this. You can no, this what you are seeing here, this underlying text. Eh? Yeah, it's a text with Y, because this we want it to be able to increase or decrease whatever value we have here, and we want this text to be editable. We want users to be able to open their keyboard and type whatever they want to type here. So this is a text feed, not just text. Do you get? Yeah, so it's a text feed. Text feed is the feed that we use to type whatever you want to type. On your WhatsApp, when you click and you want to type, that box that you are typing inside is a text feed. In your email, whatever the app you want to use, you want to register any app, that place you put in your username is your text feed. Do we get? So, you have a question? Yeah, it looked like it. You don't worry. I get the reason you guys didn't understand it, but don't worry. Now let's use text feed. Text feed and save. Now, if you do something like this, you will notice an error in your console like this. You guys should pay attention. You notice an error like this. This is now it says an input decorator which is typically created by TextFeed cannot have an unbound width. This is what you should note here. Cannot have unbound width. This happens when a parent widget does not provide a finite width constraint. For example, if the input decorator is contained in a row, and that's what we are doing, right? Then its width must be constrained, meaning that it must have a definite size. An expanded widget or a size bus can be used to constrain the width of the input decorator or text field that contains it. What does that mean? It means that this text field has a property which is called input decorator that we use to decorate the text field, right? Now, that input decorator takes the whole width, can expand to whatever width that it has access to. That's what they mean by unbound width. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, that's what they mean by unbound width. That is, the width is not limited, so it can extend. Then we are putting it inside a row. Remember, a row can also extend to whatever. It doesn't have a fixed size. It can extend to whatever the screen size is or whatever it has access to. Now, these two widgets now doesn't have a size, meaning that the row will expand. Also, the text field, the text field will also expand. And we do know what that cannot happen. You cannot have both widgets extend to whatever size they are. So the solution here is, they suggested the solution for us. It says an expanded widget or a size bus can be used to constrain the width of the input decorator or the text field that contains it. It says that either we use expanded or we use size box to. Now, if we use size box, let's wrap it with size box. Yeah. And give it a width. And give it a width. Let's just give it a width of 200. I want you to note something here. Oh. Okay, now look at it. I gave it a width of 200, which we cannot know the exact width that this button will take. Let's say I put the second material button here. Okay, this works actually, but then if we might not know the size of the screen, might not know the screen, or we might not know the exact size that will work for this, because this we are just giving it a definite width of 200, which is what it's looking for, right? It's looking for that we give it the size that will contain it. But here if we give it 200 actually works, but we might not, this is because this works doesn't mean that when we are working on another project 200 will work, or 200, or we can give it a definite size. Now we want it to take as much as space it can take and does not extend beyond what it should extend beyond. So that's why we will use expanded widgets instead. Now if you use size box, you have to pass a size, but if you don't know the size, you might not know the size every time. So that's why we use expanded widgets. So instead of size box here, use expanded. What does expanded do? Expanded help you to expand whatever children you pass to it, to give it the available size. It doesn't let it extend past what the available space is. If we shrink, let's say this is a web and we try to shrink this, so it will still accept it, because expanded widget doesn't have a definite size, but it will take the size that the parent widget allow it to have. Do you get? Expanded widget will expand the widget to the available space it allows it to. So meaning that this expanded widget will shrink the input decorator to only the available space that is available on our screen. Do you get it? Okay. Now you know when to use expanded widget and when to use size box, right? Do you know? Okay. Let's move on. All right. So if you want to give it a definite size, that's when you use size box. Yes. But it's not actually, I don't think it's practical to use size box, because for something like this, when you shrink it, you will have a render size issue. Render size issue is when you have a size that, let's say you gave this 200, you gave this text width 200, you gave this one 50, you gave this one 50. That's equals to 300, right? Then maybe your screen size is no more than 250. So that will cause another issue. The space you gave it is not enough. I mean, the space you have on your screen is not enough for what you pass to your widgets. That's what you have. That's when you have render size issue. You will see the one thin line, like red line by the right, that says so you use expanded widgets when you can, and use size box when you cannot. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have text feeds. This expanded widget is has property. It has a property called flex. Flex is okay. Let's use expanded for this as well. This button, we can also expand it to give it to allow it to take as much space as it can. So let's say we give this first material button, we wrap it with expanded. This is one way to use expanded though. Now you give this expanded and you give this expanded, making these two buttons half expanded. You see that the button also expand itself to, meaning that these two will fight for the available space you have on your screen. They will fight for the available space and share it within each other. This will take half of the space, and this text will also take half of the available space. This one have its definite size. This third button have its definite size. It will not concern itself with their own fight. They are the ones that have expanded. They will try to expand. Each of them will try to expand as much as they can. Do you get? Now, if we wrap the third one too with expanded, so meaning that the three of them will share the available space. Do you get? So let's do that for this as well. So as you can see, three of them now have they now share the screen size by side. Do you understand it? Do you understand what expanded widget does? Before you do that, check the properties of your widget. You use elevated button. Elevated button have a size property. So meaning that you can give it a definite size. But look at this material button. There's nothing like size here. Right? Okay, it has a maximum width and minimum width and height, but you can still, even with your elevated button, I think you can still pass. You can still give it expanded to expand it to as much as you can. Since size does work for it, expanded widget should also work for it. Okay. Now, I want to show you something here. Now, look at this. Expanded widgets have a property called flex. Now, these three widgets, each of them took the available space. They share it each by each other, right? Now, what if we want the text feeds to take more space than the two buttons? So that is why expanded widgets have a property called flex. Now the default flex is set to 1. If you hover on your text feed, you see flex is equal to 1. You see, int flex is equal to 1, meaning that flex will automatically be set to 1 for each of them. One means that all of them will take the space by one ratio, like they will have the same ratio. Now, if we set this flex to 2, meaning that this expanded will take 2:1. That is, all other one will take 1, and this flex will take 2 of the, like they will divide the screen by 3, or they will divide the screen, and the text width will take 2%, like it will take the 2 division of the screen. Do you get it? While this one will take 1 division for each of them, the text width will take 2 for itself, and the other one will take 1 division by themselves. Do you get it? Do you get it now? Let's say this screen is divided into 4. This one alone, this text width will take 2, while the other one will take 1 each other. Do you get? So when you pass flex, you are telling the widget to take more percentage than the other. We can pass 2 to all of these ones as well, which it will still, by the end of the day, mean the same thing. That is, they will all have. You can pass as many numbers as you want for flex. All right, so let's move on. Let's pass this one to positive. Now, I want to align this work to the left side of the screen, and to do that, we are using column, and column have a property called cross-axis alignment. It has 3 properties actually. Column has 3 properties. It has cross-axis alignment, main axis alignment, and main size alignment. Okay, cross-axis alignment for column. Both column and row, they share the same properties. All properties that you found on column, you will find it on row as well, because they actually do the same thing. But column is for vertical axis, while row is for horizontal axis. All right, so column and row, they have 3 properties. Okay, they have more than 3, but then we are interested in the first 3. The main axis alignment, which is automatically set to start. It says for column, main axis alignment is the vertical alignment of the screen. It is the vertical alignment of the screen. That is from top to bottom. It aligns them from when you set it to start, it will move all the widgets to the start. When you set it to center, it will move all the widgets to the center. And if you set it to end, it will move everything to the end. Let's see that in action. Let's pass, main axis alignment. Axis alignment, but end. As you can see, it's moved all the contents to the end of the screen. Right? It moves all the contents. If we set it to center, it will move everything to the center of the screen. That is main axis alignment. You see that the alignment is only affecting the vertical axis. Do you get? And also, we have more than that 3. We have main axis alignment dot space around. we have space between. I think I've explained this to you. We have space around, space between, and space evenly. Space around, we just expand the space between each of the widgets. Space around, we give them, space evenly, we give them equal spacing. Do you get? And space around will also give them, will space them and give them a certain space at the start. Then it lays out the widgets, give them equal space in the middle. So that's main axis alignment. We also have one which we want to look at for this case, which is cross axis alignment. Cross axis alignment is horizontal. It's horizontal for column. However, for row, main axis alignment will affect horizontal axis, while cross axis alignment will affect vertical axis. It's just the opposite of each other. Do you get? So this, we want to set cross axis alignment. Alright, so as you can see, we have this already, and this is what we want, right? Okay, fine. Now let's change this one color. Okay, now if you notice, there is a cursor that is blinking here, right? If you type anything inside the text switch, it should be aligned to the left. So we want to align the text switch to the center. Let's look at the properties. It has the properties of text align. It has the properties of text align, which it is automatically set to start, right? So let's look at that and say text align and set it to center. And yeah, that's what we want. Is that not? So that is it. You have a question? Okay. I can't hear you. The difference between text alignment and direction. Where did you see direction? Where? Inside the text field, right? Where is it? Okay, text direction, this one, right? Okay. You know, we have some languages that their text doesn't start from left to right, right?
Yes.
Do you, for example, Arabic starts from right to left. So text direction will, if you look at this, this will be, okay, it's not set automatically. It will be set to left to right. But you can, if your language is right to left, let me say text direction. As you can see, this is an enum with two properties. It has only text direction from left to right or right to left. Do you get it now? All right. So, wait a minute. Okay. Now, since we have this, we can just clone this. I mean, we can just duplicate this into three. Let's just have the three this here, which will give us what we want, right? Maybe that's not it. But does that make sense? Now we've created what we want. Now the next thing is, instead of having everything, instead of duplicating this and have everything on for different widgets, you know, we already have one for work and all this button. We can just copy and paste it like this and change what we want here, and change what we want here to short, right? And this will give us what we are trying to do, right? But the problem here is, small time now, our screen will be full. We'll be having like 100 lines of code. Because of what? Because of something that we are doing the same thing. And that's why there is something called widget extraction. That is, we can extract our widget and use it again and again and again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just the way we are doing for the button in the first screen. So to do that, let's just remove this. Now to do that, the first thing we need to do is, if we want to extract both this text and the button and the text with inside the row, we have to do it to be able to contain all of them into one widget. Do you get me? This is separate widgets. These two, the widget we want to extract now will be the text widget and this row. This row will contain everything inside it, right? But the text and the row will be the widget we want to extract. But we cannot extract them one by one. Doesn't make sense. What can we do? what we can do is to wrap both of them inside a column. We can wrap both of them inside a column, and we use that column, we extract that column. You know, once we wrap both of them into column, they become one widget, right? Then we can now wrap both widgets into, we can now extract the widgets. Let's do this. Extract column. Then we cut this. Okay, yeah. Then we paste this. Yeah, I will wrap. This is what I'm just doing. I wrap the both widgets with column. Since they are on vertical axis, so I wrap them with column. Then I will now extract the column. I'll now extract the column into widgets and name it. What should I name it? This. We can call it settings widget. Okay. Now that we have this, we can now copy this widget. We can now paste it in 3 places, and it will have what we are trying to do. Do you get it now? Do you get it? Is there any question? Is there any question? The way we wrap it, okay, let me go back. Let me come back to that. Now, I want to make this, I want to extract these 2 widgets. These 2 widgets. The problem here is there are 2 widgets. I cannot extract 2 widgets into a custom widget at a time. I need something that can contain both of them as one. And since we are on a column, we can wrap it with column. Since we are laying our widget vertically, we can wrap them with column. So that is why I wrap this row. I wrap this row with column. Then I copy the text widget above it here. I cut it and paste it inside the column. Yes, inside the column that we just wrapped. Don't forget, we still have the parent column, right? Don't worry about that one. That will be the one that houses everything. But now we have this column. Now we want to extract this column into a custom widget. You can just either click here, that bob icon on your screen, and click on extract widgets. Then you name it the whatever we want to name it. In this case, let's just name it settings widget. And here we have it. So you can then copy this into 3 places. Then we have what we want. Is that cool? You understand it? You understand it? All right. Now, there's still a problem left for us to undo, which is what? The alignment. Okay, let's go and tackle that first. Now, this column, you know that this first column is the one that we wrap with cross-axis alignment to start. So, meaning that all these widgets, they will be starting at the start. but this the inner column is starting at the center. That's why we have, what we need to do here is to set the inner column to start as well, right? You should be able to fix it, right? Well, how do we fix this? I want to hear from you guys. Yeah. How do we fix it? To start, yes. We want to align this work so that it starts where it's supposed to start. You said? Eh? Don't ask me. I'm asking you. You are asking me again. Yeah, cross access alignment dot start. Simple. So we just set the column to cross access alignment dot start. And as you can see, anything that we change inside this settings widget will affect 3 of them, right? Now, what's the next problem to tackle? The title, right? Each of them have different title. You should know how to do that, right? So we create a we use our constructor to give them different values. You remember how to do that, right? Hello. Do you remember how to do that? Hello. Hello, I'm asking all of you. You remember how to use our constructor to pass different value to the widget? Hey, you guys are like, hey. By the way, let's move on. We have a lot to cover. Now, let's say, you said? Yes, we've been doing it since, okay, we use it when we did button the other time. So it's nothing new. So let's just create a new, a variable. You know, we can just create a variable, final. The variable will be string, type. Then let's name it the title, right? Then we use our constructor to accept the title, this dot title, and let's mark it as required. So then we will now use this title here. See? So we have, meaning that this variable, whatever we pass for it to it from the constructor will be what will be displayed here. Is there any question? You said? I can't hear you. We've not given it any title yet. We just create a variable and pass it to our constructor, so that anytime we create this settings widget, we pass the title we want for it, and whatever the title we pass to it from here will be passed to this text widget. You get? So now to do that, the first one, you can say title is equal to work, and the second one, you can say title is equal to short break, Abby. Short. And the last one, you can say title is equal to long, right? Then let's save and see the magic. So as you can see, we have our title for each. I hope you guys can replicate this. You should be able to. You should. Any questions so far? Is there any questions so far? Okay. Now, okay, so let's move on. If you look at these text feeds in the this thing that I shared to you, it has a constant text. It has a constant text that is displayed on the. A minute, please. Now, meaning that even if we close the app and we reopen the app, the text will still be on the screen. Now, how do we now make this happen in our own things as well? So, this is the correction of the assignment, right? And we are good to go. Now, we can pass initial value. Let me see the property. Okay, let's do this instead. Now, these text feeds, all text feed that you use in Flutter, they have a property called controller. What's a controller? Controller allows you to control your text feeds. They allow you to control your text feeds. Now, in this case, there's a controller, and it takes the properties of text editing controller. text editing controller. Now, what does text editing controller does? It allows you to edit, to modify your text. You can use it to modify your text. Basically, do anything with the text that you type in your text feed. Do you get? Now, but in this case, we want to set initial text for each of the text feeds. To do that, what do we need to do? We need to first define text feed. Now, look at something. If I declare text feed inside the settings widget, since our settings widget is here, if I declare a text feed inside here, they will all use the same text feed. Do you get? Hello. If I declare a text feed here, they will all use the same text feed. But if I declare it outside, if I declare it inside the settings view, we can now pass whatever the text feed we declare to the particular text widget, settings widget. Do you get? Just like we are doing for the the title. So let's just start with that. Now look at where I will declare my text widget. One thing you should know that is this build method. This build method is called multiple times. Can be called more than 20 times in a second. This is how Flutter works. Do you know that all these screens that we are seeing, everything that you are seeing on your screen, they are just like some lights that is blinking at an interval? Do you know? And that's how all the devices that have screen, that's how they work. They are just like some lights that is coming up, but they are too fast that your eyes cannot notice the blinking. That is why you see them constant like this. If you want to buy a new phone, you see that they will say can refresh rate 120 frames per second. Now Flutter, the way Flutter works is it creates a frame. It creates 60 frames per second. Do you get what that means? That is, it creates, it blinks 60 times per second. Do you get? Now, the way Flutter works is it's when you lay any widget on the screen, it lays out that widget 60 times per second. That 60 times means that the widget will blink 60 times in a second. And that's too fast that your eyes cannot even notice. Do you get? Now, this build method is what is called each time the blinking is happening. This meaning that everything you put inside this build method is called 60 times per second. Do you get? Are you getting me? Now, everything that you put inside this build method will be called 60 times per second, and that takes depending on the size of your widget. We do not want to put anything that will be very hard for Flutter to create within 60 seconds, within 60 times per second inside build method. Do you get? So anything that you know that will take some time to build, don't put it. In fact, don't put anything inside build method except it is required. Except it is required to do so. This is build method. Anything outside after this opening bracket is what you put inside build method. Do you get? Now, we want to create our text editing controller. If we put it, if we say final text editing controller is equal to, let's say, the work controller, work controller is equal to text editing controller. If we declare this inside the build method, what we are doing is basically doing is every time it's recreating the screen, it will recreate the text editing controller, meaning that it will create 60 text editing controller per second. Does that make sense? We don't want that because we just need it once and be able to pass it to whatever widget we want to do. So that is why we will move it out of the build method and put it here. Remember scope in Flutter. Scope, anything that you put inside here, inside the build method, can only be accessed inside the build method. Anything you put outside the build method can be accessed inside the build method and outside it. You remember the scope, right? So that is why we will be able to access this work controller inside the build method because it is outside the build method and build method can have access to whatever is outside it. You said? Outside. Build method can have access to whatever is inside it and it's outside it, in as much they are inside the same class. If we put this text editing controller inside the build method, then we create another function outside the build method. That function will not have access to text editing controller because it is inside the build method. Do you get? Any question? Any question? Hello, are you guys getting? Is it getting boring? Hello. Don't worry, let's just pass this space. You will enjoy it. Now, we've created the work controller for this. Also, let's create it for short and break as well. Short. Long. Okay. Now, in Flutter, the stateful widgets. Remember, I told you, stateful widgets have information about states. So, meaning that when the state is created, when the state is initialized, when the state is updated, when the state is deposed, stateful widgets have all the information. Now, I said I would tell you the reason we choose to use stateful widgets here. The reason is because the way Flutter works is, Flutter is high performance, like it's manage the performance of your app, right? Meaning in such a way that when you create, I told you in the beginning of this class that when you create a widget, a variable, that variable is stored on your device memory. Do you remember? Hello, you guys are looking at me as if you did not hear it, you've never heard it before. I told you, yes, I told you the first class that whenever you create a variable, that variable is stored on your RAM. That variable, like this thing will just create like a box on your device, on your RAM, and stored that variable there. Now, Flutter wants to be able to optimize your size in such a way that when you create a variable, and when you are done with that variable and you are not using it again, Flutter will delete that variable on your memory. Right? So that's how Flutter works, and that's how Flutter is able to optimize the performance of your app. Now, there's a problem. Anything, if you hear anything controller, Flutter is not capable to delete controller from memory. We have to delete it ourselves when we are done using it. Hello? Is it getting confused? Now, we have to be the one to delete that controller. If we do not delete it, the first thing is it will create unused memory on your device, meaning that your app will take more memory than it's supposed to. That's one thing. Two, it can cause memory leakage. Memory leakage is in the sense that the variable or the value that you use, that you are supposed to depose, the value is still available on your memory, which it can there is something called garbage collector. That's what collects all the unused variable and deposits. So garbage collector will not be able to delete whatever you. So in short, anything controller cannot be deleted by Flutter. Garbage collector cannot delete anything that is called controller. We have to be the one to delete it after we are done. So that is why we are using stateful widget, which it means that stateful widget, when the state is created, that is when we have this create states. We have another method called init states. Init state, that is when your state is being initialized. Let's look at it here. We can call init state, and this is it basically. This is when the state is being initialized. We also have another one called dispose. This is when your state is done and you want to dispose. Now, with what I have explained, what do we need to do here? We need to dispose. Please speak louder. We need to dispose our text editing controller. Now we know that there is a method that we can use to dispose. So we can just use this dispose method to dispose all our work, all our controller. We can now do dot dispose. We can do short dot dispose, and also long dot dispose. So every time you are working with text editing controller, make sure you dispose your text editing controller. Is that clear? Make sure you always dispose your text editing controller, because your app might be heavy. Don't add to something that is not necessary. Okay, we can also use this init state to initialize our text editing controller. Do you get? We can also use it since we want to pass. Okay, let's just leave that. We can I don't want to confuse you guys. Now, text editing controller. This controller have a property called text. Let's pass the text. And text, it takes in a string as a child. You see, string text. So we can pass, our work will be 40 seconds. Text. Short will be 10 seconds. And long will be maybe 20. Let's just say, let's set short to 5. No, let's set it to 10. And let's set this one to 20. Now you don't see anything new, right? Let me restart the screen and you'll see. The reason you do not see anything is because the screen has been created already, whereas this variable can be, this text editing controller, this place we are putting it is called only once when the screen is being created. So, and the app has already passed that state, so that's why it's Oh, we've not even passed it to the text editing, the text feed. So let's do that here. To do that, we want each text feed to have their own controller, right? So just like we did for the title here, we can also create a final text editing controller and call it controller. So then we can now pass the controller. Okay, then we can now pass the controller to each of these. So work controller will be work controller. Where is it? Okay. It's not showing because of this const. Work controller, then the controller will be long controller. Where is this? Okay, then this will be so as you can see, everything appears on the text. Do you get it? Hello? Hello, is there any question? Is there any question? Now, let's go back to our main screen. Oh, before I go, let's create the app bar for this screen. Let's just say app bar, app bar, and automatically apply leading. Let's set it to true. Title, text, Okay. Now let's give it a color. Background color. And let's use this our color. I expect you guys to ask me a question that this color that we are copying around, can't we create a variable and pass it to it and then use it everywhere? Can't we? We can. Yeah. You guys should do that and let me see what it looks like. Let me see how you would get that. Let's set this style, text style, color. Let's set these colors to white. Okay, now let's go back to our main page. Let's leave this for now. We are not done with this screen actually, but let's leave it for now. Let's go back to our main page, our home page. All right, so now how do we link these two screens together? The settings page and the main screen. I'm asking you a question. How do we link the page? You said? I can't hear you clearly. You said? Yeah, the settings are for the. Yeah, we want to link them together in the sense that the time we set on the settings will be the time for the countdown. For example, the time we set for the work will be the. Or that's not even the question I'm asking you. How do we navigate to the settings page? What? Leading what? To the. To do what? I don't get what you're saying. By the way, let's move on. So there's navigation in Flutter. Not only Flutter, all software. You can navigate from one screen to another, one page to another, right? So let's look at navigation. You said? Okay. All right. So now we have this app bar. Let's just put a button here, or let's say like a menu icon, and use it to set the settings. Let me set this to deep work timer instead of my deep work timer, and let me set the font width. Okay. Now let's say this app bar have a property called action. Actions allows you to put more widgets on the screen. Let's say actions on the app bar. It allows you to put more widgets. As you can see, actions it takes list of widgets. Do you get? So you can say we can just pass icon button. There's a widget called icon button, and it's a widget that takes icon and make it pressable, make it clickable. Then this icon and we pass icon.menu. I'm trying to look for okay. But instead, let's use something else. Let's use pop-up menu button. There's a widget called pop-up menu button. This allows you to pass in whatever it allows you to have a pop-up menu on your screen. Pop-up menu would be like the list of pop-up menu button. Okay, so let's use this takes a list. This pop-up menu button, it takes a list it returns a list and of function, meaning that this will be like a function that returns a list of pop-up item. We have context, and it will return to return list pop pop-up menu item. So the child will be text. Also, it has another property called unpressed. It has property called untap, which when it taps, that's where we want to put our functions to go to another screen. Now look at this. You see, this button now appears at the top of the screen. And we click on it like this. It should show a pop-up. As you see, that is pop-up button. So actions allow us to put more widgets on the app bar. Okay. Now, let's talk about navigation in Flutter. The way navigation works is when, let's say, you have widgets stacked on each other like this. I mean, you have one different doors like this. When you go to a widget, it stays at the bottom like this. When you go to navigate to another bottom, it will stack over the previous one, and if you from there you go to another navigation, it will stack on there. So now if you want to leave that screen, you can just pop the first one, then you have the first screen, you pop this one. So let's look at how we create a navigation. Now, Flutter has a property called a widget called navigator. Now, it has different constructor. There is the constructor of default route name, can pop, default different constructor. Like, see, this is all of them. This is all the constructor we have. Now, but the one we are interested in is called navigator.push, because we want to push to the next screen, called navigator.push. Navigator.push takes two parameters. One is context, the second one is the route that you want to take it to. Now, what is the type of the route? As you can see, the route, we have a type called material page routes. What do I call it? Material page route. Now, material page route is a constructor, and it also takes one parameter, which is called builder. Builder is a function like this. Then it takes in, what does it take? It takes in a context. Then you can now use it to return the settings page. Okay. Now, if we click this and we click on settings, it should do what? It should navigate us to the next screen, as you can see. So, and to go back here, we can just click pop. This will do, what does that do? It automatically sets, since here I already set this automatically implied leading is true. That is why it sets to true. But if I want to use, let me just create a widget. Yeah, we can use this to pop back to the previous screen. Remember I told you the screen are stacked on each other, and when you pop, when you click on pop, just remove the first route. If you want to undo this manually, instead of using the implied leading, you can just use let me just create it in here. You can use something called navigator.pop inside the settings button. No, not display. So I'm just using this to show you the example navigator. So this, when you use this will pop back to the previous screen. Do you get? So let me remove this. So like this, we have so many types of navigator in Flutter. We have navigator.push, we have navigator.push replaced, we have navigator.remove until. We'll get to look at each of them one by one later. All right. So now we want to make this functional. Hello, is there any question? Wonder, is there any question? You have to do what? You said? Okay. Now I want to create a file and name it constant. I want to create a new file. Why? The reason is because I want to set this to a constant value. Okay, don't worry, don't let me do that yet. Let's just go to settings view and let's declare 3 variables and call it work time, short time, long time. So in the settings view, don't worry about new page again. So let's create an integer. This time it will be an integer and call it work time is equal to 40 int short time is equal to 30. here, instead of add coding time in here, instead of add coding it here, we can just call, but first let's move this one to init state. The reason we want to move it inside hello, the reason we want to move all this inside the init state is because we cannot access this work inside here, because they are both, let me see, yeah, they are both an instance variable. Okay, we are able to, let me, no, we cannot. It says the instance member cannot be initialized. You see, it says the instance member work time can't be accessed in an initializer. So let's just create init states and move all this. Now, look at this. I added late to the widget to this, and I'll tell you the reason. Yeah, I create this variable, and they are final variable, as you can see, but they are not nullable, and I'm not assigning any value. So basically what is happening here is, when you in Flutter, when you create anything, when you create any value, you have to, if they are not nullable variable, you have to pass their value to them immediately. Do you get? You have to pass their value to them immediately. But if you know that their value will not be ready yet at that moment, you can make Flutter delay their initialization until their value is available. That is why we pass late to this. This late is telling it that your value is coming, so we will pass it later. So that is why we are able to pass it here. Do you get it? Hello, do you get it? You are confused. See, this late keyword is a keyword in Flutter that allows you to pass the value to an initializer at a later time, in as much that the value will be available when you want to use it. If the value will not be available when you use it and you make it a late, so it will throw an error that late initializer has not been initialized. But here we know that our value will be ready when we want to use it. It is sure that this variable will be created immediately and we can pass it here. It will be available right before here. So we know that it will be available. So we can pass it, we can make it delay the initializer until this init state is done. Hello, you get me? All right, so let's also create this is short line that is string and okay. Now, the reason why we create this variable here is because we want this value to be dynamic, in the sense that when we click positive here, we want it to increase the work time, and when we click negative, we want to decrease the work time. Do you get? So now, let's make this button functional. To make it functional, since when we click this button, they are not doing the same thing, right? Each of them do what we want it to do for it. Or we can still use the same function for all of them, right? Let's just use the same thing, the same function for 3 of them. If we use the same function, then we'll be using 2 more variables. Okay, you know what? Let's just let's add another 2 functions here. And call it final void callback, and call it positive. Also, another one called negative. That is, when the positive, we want to pass this function when the positive button is clicked, and we want to pass this function when the negative button is clicked. So let's come here and set this to negative. Hello, are you guys following me? Let's call this on. Okay. Now let's this one to have Okay, now here, this one on negative, with what will this negative one do? It will, on negative, we want to decrease the work value here, right? So we can now call this work controller. Remember I said the controller can be used to manipulate whatever the value of the text field is. So we can say work controller dot text, the text value of it is equal to work time, the variable we created earlier, work time plus plus. That is, we want to be able to add 1 to it. What is this? It says int can, okay, this is a type of string. So everything here will have to convert it to string when we are done. We can now do dot to string. Okay, do you guys have any question here? It's not clear, right? Now, this work controller, oh, this should be minus minus instead of plus plus. You remember in that, you remember minus minus, what does it do? Subtract by 1, right? Now, this work time variable that we created earlier is an integer, right? And we pass that integer here as the value of the work time. Now, anytime here the user clicks on negative, we'll pick that work time, the variable we created earlier, the work time variable, and minus 1 by it, then convert it back to string, then assign it back to work controller. You still do not get it. Now let's do the same thing for positive. On positive we do the same thing, but this one will be plus plus. Now let's do the same thing for the others as well. Let me just copy this. And this will be what? This will be short controller dot text. Then this will be short time. So let's do the same thing for the third one, which is a long button. So this will be long controller, and this also will be long controller. This will be long time, and as well this will be so now we have this. If I click on minus, if I click on minus, now it has reduced the value. Okay, let me do something here. This work time, let me print the value of work time. Okay, now I want you guys to watch. Let me just use log so that you can see it differently. Okay, I want you guys to watch this console when I click anything. Now look at this work time, if I click on minus, you see that it prints 38 to the console, meaning that this has changed to 38. If I click on it again, it has changed to 37, but this one does not change anything. Okay, it has changed to 37 here, but this one is still showing 38. If I click on it again, this one is 36, and this one is still. Now, what is the reason? The reason is because when you perform any action in Flutter, I think I've mentioned it again before, that when you perform any action that you want it to reflect on your screen, you have to rebuild your screen when that action is done. Have I mentioned it? Wonder, are you sleeping? I mean, the follower. Hello. So, okay. Now, when you perform any action and you want it to reflect on your screen, you need to rebuild your state, because it will it's still using the old state until you rebuild. When you rebuild your screen, it takes the new state and relay out the screen on your, the widget on your screen. So to do that, we have something called set state. So what does this set state do? It's immediately you click on the function and this set state will rebuild your screen. It will rebuild your widgets on the screen. Let me click on it again. As you can see, it reflects immediately. This changed to 35 and this also changed to 35, as you can see. Now, where can we have access to this set states? We can only have access to set states inside stateful widgets. Remember, it's only stateful widgets that have states. Stateless widget does not have states, so it doesn't have anything to set. It's only stateful widgets that have states. Do you get? So here now we will pass states, set states to all these. Let me just do this like this. Let me restart the app. So the work time is still 30 and it's loading. Okay, let's go to settings. So you can click positive and it increases it by 1. You can check for the other as well. So as you can see, everything works fine. Is there any question? Hello? Is there any question? What? Yes. Is there any problem with that? Each button have their function, and we are passing it to them. Hello, is there any problem? Okay. You know what? Let's stop here. I actually want us to finish this today, but I will stop here. We are supposed to make it functional in such a way that if we set the work time to be 50 minutes here, it will reflect here that whenever they click on work, it will start from 50 minutes, right? But I want us to stop here because it involves something called state management, and I don't want to go through state management in this course because you guys are still lagging behind. So, but in the next class, the next project will be VnicomHub, and this time we'll look at state management. So make sure you understand. I will make sure this video is ready this week so that you can watch it over the weekend. Is there any question? Yeah, I will push it to GitHub now. You can just pull. You don't know how to pull? Just from here, since you are logged into if you are logged into your terminal, just do git pull. And when you press enter, it will fetch all the codes from the server. Is there any questions so far? Let me see the UI. But yes, let me. Maybe you are already building UI for your next project, for your defense. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just push this for you.